As Acumatica consultants, we all run into this.
Yeah.
You're working on a system and bam, you hit a wall. You need to move some data between screens.
Right.
But it just won't cooperate.
I know exactly what you mean.
Super frustrating.
Totally. And it can really eat up your time if you're not careful.
That's why I think this deep dive will be super useful.
Yeah.
We've got an expert who's figured this out.
Really?
Her name is Farhana. She's a solution architect over at Tiana Solutions.
Oh, wow. Tiana Solutions, they're huge.
The biggest Acumatica services partner out there.
And Farhana's worked on over 1,000 different scenarios.
She's seen it all when it comes to data transfer issues.
That's impressive.
In the stuff you shared, Farhana walked us through how she tackles these data transfer problems.
Okay.
What's interesting is she starts by understanding the problem.
So not just jumping into trying to fix it.
Exactly. She really stresses mapping out the data flow.
Like what screens are involved, what data needs to move, how it should interact.
Getting a clear picture before even looking at the code.
Yeah, it's like planning a road trip before you hit the gas.
Perfect analogy.
Once she has that map, she uses Acumatica's tools and some custom code to make a solution.
Could you give us an example?
Let's say you need to get data from a sales order screen to an inventory screen.
Okay.
Farhana might use something called a PX select query to grab the data from the sales order.
And then?
Then she'd use the persist method to update the inventory screen.
Got it. But it's not just copy and paste, right?
Definitely not every situation's different.
And that's where Farhana's problem identification shines.
Right.
She had this great example where users were reporting inconsistencies and errors when transferring data.
Uh-oh.
Instead of just patching things up, she dug deeper to find the root cause.
I like her style.
How does she approach that?
Very systematically analyzing logs, testing scenarios, reviewing the code line by line.
Wow. What did she find?
Often it was subtle things that many consultants would miss.
Like what? Spill the beans.
Sometimes it was a misunderstanding of Acumatica's data structure.
Oh.
Like projections and interface tables, they can act differently than regular database tables.
Interesting.
Or maybe an event trigger wasn't firing, right?
Ah, so small things with a big impact.
Totally. Even experienced Acumatica consultants can learn from her.
That's what we're going to dig into in part 2.
Can't wait.
We'll look at a specific example of how she put her process into action and the impact it had on a client's workflow.
Sounds good.
It's going to get really interesting.
I bet. In this case, the client was having problems with data between their sales orders and inventory screens.
I could see that causing issues.
Yeah, it was really slowing down their fulfillment process.
So how did Farhana tackle this one?
First, she mapped out the data flow between those two screens.
Right.
She wanted to see exactly where those inconsistencies were happening.
She's all about that systematic approach.
It's her secret weapon.
I like it.
So through her analysis, she found that the problem came from a custom field that wasn't being updated correctly.
So not Acumatica itself, but a customization.
Exactly. And this is where her knowledge of how Acumatica is built really helps.
I'll bet.
She knew exactly which events and database tables were involved in that data transfer. She fixed that, the inconsistencies disappeared.
And the sales orders and inventory screens were finally in sync.
Like magic.
That's awesome. I bet the client was thrilled.
Oh, projections and interface tables in Acumatica.
Oh, yeah.
They can really trip you up when you're moving data around.
I can see that.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Couldn't agree more. And if you're looking for expert help, Tiana Solutions is a great place to start.
They really are.
Their team can help you streamline those processes and overcome any technical hurdles.
They've got tons of experience.
You can reach them at 678-910-2774.
Work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely. And Farhana's approach is a perfect example of that.
I agree.
We've covered a lot today.
Yeah, well, joined us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.
Until then.